I wanted to talk about the roots of Scientology, and I mentioned at the end of season 1 that in the second season we're going to be going deeper into its roots. So a way to do that is to start off in the mid-40s with something called Operation Paperclip, which I'm going to step you through. We're going to go up to Charles Manson, which is a very interesting time in history, and talk about him. And then we're going to go up to the 70s, dealing with David Berkowitz, or the Son of Sam killer. And all throughout this journey, the Scientology cult plays its role, and we'll talk about that. So grab your bong. I'm going to grab a cigarette. Drop some acid, whatever you feel like doing, because, my friends, we're going back to the hippie era. And what role did Scientology have to play in all this? Wasn't I going towards spiritual freedom? And how is it that I came to be an unwitting Manchurian candidate at Scientology's Celebrity Center without my knowledge or consent?
Catherine? Oh, I'm so looking forward to this. I was just saying to you, there are so many connections in this that is just going to make so much sense to people as we go through the story. So this is really fascinating and really, really important to understand what's happening today.
Isn't it? Like, I know when I first asked you, you had not heard of the Son of Sam, had you, Catherine?
Not at all. So it's all been completely new to me, but actually watching and going through the information that you sent and going through the documentary, it's incredible how relevant it is to what we've all been through over the last 3 years.
This might be controversial to say, but I was telling you, Catherine, I actually have a lot of empathy for David Berkowitz.
Yeah.
I really do. I think he was a Manchurian candidate. I think that his mind was scrambled. I think that he was a lost person. We've all, but by the grace of God go I. We've all been in places in our...
When you look at, we've spoken a lot about the characteristics of psychopaths and the difference between being a psychopath and mind controlled. And when you see some of the threats that were made to him, David Berkowitz, if he then divulged some of the other people involved, which involved harming his family members.
Yes.
You know, that's not a psychopath. A psychopath. There's a consistent theme here as we start to see the main players in here of severe childhood trauma.
Severe.
Yeah.
So when they first, and that's interesting that so there are people out there that be like, oh, Maury Terry was just a crazy conspiracy theorist. What's conspiracy theorist and crazy about that letter? If you're not going to read that letter and think satanic cult, then I don't know what planet you're living on. They're basically talking.
So here we go. What Son of Sam leaves out about the process and its Scientology connection. Now that's in reference to the Process Church of the Final Judgment, which, as you'll learn about, is an offshoot of Scientology. The Sons of Sam introduces viewers to the Process Church of the Final Judgment, and here's what the Netflix documentary leaves out about the movement, supposedly. You guys might recognize that from the thumbnail. The Sons of Sam, A Descent into Darkness, introduces viewers to the Process Church of the Final Judgment, but a lot gets left out about the movements and its roots in Scientology. Netflix docuseries is largely told from the perspective of journalist Maury Terry, who dedicated his life to the Son of Sam case, hoping to prove that David Berkowitz didn't act alone. Terry's research into the alleged cult members John and Michael Carr, who Berkowitz claimed were co-conspirators to his crimes, revealed a past link to the Scientology Church and an offshoot branch known as the Process Church. Now, before we get deeper into this, Michael Carr was a high-level Scientologist. He's the one that supposedly introduced David Berkowitz to the Son of Sam cult, which is an offshoot of the Process, which is an offshoot of Scientology. He got a suppressive declare from Hubbard, got booted out, and joined, like I said, allegedly, an offshoot of the Process Church. I hope that makes sense so far. So, Terry believed that the New York branch of the Process Church spawned a satanic cult called the Children, and as you'll see, that might be more along the lines of an offshoot called the 4 Ps of the Process, or the Chingon. And Netflix true crime documentary examines Maury Terry's theory that several members of the cult were behind the 1970s killing spree attributed to the Son of Sam.
But you could tell he was very nervous, because you're right, Catherine, we're dealing with a huge satanic cult. I believe that, you know, like this, I can't, I still, it's in the docuseries, somebody said, you have to be an idiot to
a
believe.
complete idiot to not see this. And you know that there's always these cases which, whether it's some sort of divine intervention or what, but it's so deep, and the ties go so high in this. They go, you know, there's ties to Hollywood, there's ties to the military, there's huge ties to Scientology, there's ties to massive ties to London, there's ties to other religions and other cults. There's very suspicious goings on with mayors and police departments, and why and other people, when they cover up evidence that they were told to bury it. No, you know, there was that other guy that brought some new evidence to it, and he was told just to file it. I think I just want to really pull out how significant this is, because the thing is, we make, whether you're talking about the spiritual aspect, the quantum physics, the conspiracy, we always talk about everything's connected. And when you really delve into this case, you really see everything is connected. You see the same playbooks come up time and time and time again, the same sort of organizations and agencies and Hollywood, and also a huge amount of consistency over the information that does come out over satanic cults. It's a bit like anyone who's involved in things, that the whole purpose of it goes once it's out in the open.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so important. It's fascinating, and I could literally go through this. We could literally do a year of shows on how much there is just in this one story alone. It's so deep,
so much, and that's why I had to like keep, because I have 2 notebooks open, because like there's just so much. There's so
much.
Well, I don't know if anybody from prison gets to watch these channels, but I would love to speak to David Berkowitz if he would speak to me. Catherine, I would have you in on it too. I don't know if that's even possible. But I'm going to put that out there, because I would love to speak with him and have him tell his side of the story as much as he will, you know, for his own safety, because I think that this is just, you know, and it also teaches us a lesson: don't judge a book by its cover. You don't know the story. I have a lot of empathy for him and what happened, the tragedy of his life. And I think that he did change his name from the Son of Sam to the Son of Hope, because he's really, I think he's doing a lot to try to correct that karma, course correct. Apparently in this prison, he's trying to help other people. And so that to me is a souled person who got mind scrambled and now is trying to work his way out of that and correct that karma and really do the right thing. So, because it's also going to help out our friend Doug, who was really the person. I would have never known about this or even considered this if it wasn't for Doug. And so,
and I would have if it wasn't for you. And it's such an important bit of the jigsaw puzzle.
So